Cyber Innovations in the Private Sector highlights case studies and the latest industry trends from private vendors. Explore innovative solutions, success stories, and exclusive insights from industry leaders. Stay ahead with the cutting-edge developments driving the industry forward.
Welcome to a new episode of CyberSec TV. Gustavo Konte joins us now from SecurityGen at a time where telecom networks face escalating cyber threats. From espionage to subsea cable security, the race is on to fortify the digital backbone of the global connectivity. Hi Gustavo, how are you?
Hello Nicolas, all good here. Thanks for having me.
So Gustavo, let's start with the big picture. What have changed in the threat landscape for telecom networks over the past year?
Well, a lot of things always happen, but what we have noticed is that old techniques on signaling side, they're being effective again. So with some minor tweaks, we see attackers using old times research, I say 5-6 years ago research. Also, we had a good report from CrowdStrike about usage of known operational system vulnerabilities and even enterprise CVEs against telecom assets across the GRX network. This is what has been changing. If you look deeper on the mobile, you have direct to device. So it's a 6G promise already deployed in 5G and being tested around, and at this moment implemented in the US. This all will bring some security concerns as well.
That's amazing, Gustavo. And we've seen a rise in state-sponsored cyber espionage. What are the most sophisticated techniques being deployed today, and who is being targeted?
It's hard to talk about really state-sponsored, point fingers to any directions, but any sophisticated attacks, what they have in common is the complexity, right? So nowadays, you see stingrays, fake node Bs are quite cheap. So if you have a relevant target, the main characteristic is that the attacks are mixed. So you cannot dismiss the possibility that anyone collecting IMASV in one site just to infect a mobile through a stingray locally. So these kind of things, this kind of attacks we have seen. Even if collecting some information also on the radio access part and using it through paid messaging, iMessage or wholesale sold message to infect and maybe locate someone. So in face of it, if you have this kind of complex attacks, you need multiple sources of information, because a single source will tell you someone collected this information, but not the application, not the end of the attack.
And in your point of view, what are the top 3 vulnerabilities telecom operators still struggle to secure? And what practical measures they need to take now?
Okay, I would say roaming abuse. Although many operators in the world and across Europe have implemented protection, every time we do a security assessment, we still find vulnerabilities. So an additional, let's say a closed loop is needed. Either you monitor, you test more to have a consistent process on that. Other than this, okay, robocalls, caller ID spoofing, has increased a lot. Both sides of the Atlantic, governments has tried enforcing one way or another way. Nothing too effective on that. So this is still very, very active. And these complex attacks we discussed before, like everything related to radio access networks. So operators must keep an eye on this side as well.
And Gustavo, the shift to cloud-native infrastructure and Open RAN promise agility, but does introduce new attack surfaces. How should operators prepare?
It surely does. Good one, Nicholas. If you think what 5G has done to the core architecture, changing from point-to-point interface to everyone in the common bus, it's very similar to what will happen with Open RAN. So it's open interfaces, a lot of connectivity. You forget about these old transport layers you had, serial ones. Now everything is a mesh, it's IP MPLS. So once you get into one point, you may impact several sites if you just emulate let's say you are connected to them. So this is not something you can prevent using regular firewalls or anything. It's a humongous amount of traffic. So you need to be smart, do the good segregation, and to have good inspection on this layer, right? Test it. What if put a machine there, test the network, test what is exposed, and make sure that only what should be exposed to a remote site is available.
Are you ready to talk about subsea cables?
Yes.
Okay, these are critical to the internet backbone. How real is the threat, and what's being done to protect them?
Well, we have finally seen some deliberate destruction of cables. In the past, it will be accidents, the most common reason. Right now, every time there is an investigation. But there is not much you can do to protect these. This is the biggest, let's say, extension of network in the world, physically. But they're very interesting projects. If you go to Middle East, if you see also there is another big project that was told about the Trans-Caspian fiber optical cable. So through the Caspian Sea, etc. So it's about building redundancy. You cannot prevent or monitor every mile of a subsea cable. So you must have more. You see Meta, you see Google, they're adding capacity. When you look at nation investments, they are looking for redundancy rather than capacity. So the mesh is increasing. There's some. In the past, you would only invest on these, and you need more and more gigabits, terabits of capacity. Right now, it's about redundancy, and the things are getting interesting. But again, once you build a redundant network, you have to monitor their availability. You have to be on spot when something happens to be able to correct things.
Looking ahead to 2025 and beyond, where will you focus to be? What emerging risks are in your radar and that we are not talking enough today?
Low orbit. So low orbit satellites, they are the new edge sites, right? So when we started protecting and testing edge sites, main problem for our customers was that no solution they use it for core sites was, let's say, scalable to this amount of sites. So if you consider, I'm coming from Brazil. So in Brazil, you could have a mobile operator with 2 or 4 sites for an entire nation in 2G. 3G, 4 sites. 4G, 14 sites. 5G, over 60 sites. And then just for the minimum broadband, because you need to put something towards the edge. So you go to hundreds of sites. When you talk low Earth orbit satellites and direct to device, then you have thousands of satellites serving a country. Those are not, let's say, they don't have surplus of energy, they don't have surplus of processing. How you secure those, how you let's say, internalize these and present the same amount or the similar level of security to these subscribers.
Okay, so Gustavo, it was a pleasure talking to you today.
It was a pleasure, it's all mine. Thanks for the opportunity.
And that was Gustavo Konte from SecurityGen. We talk about security in telecom networks.